Hal has frozen over. I look out of my window as a winged pig flies by. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Alex here with a review. 3.5 years in the making. Yes, guys, hello, it's me, Alex, and we're here. I'm going to have to drop this a little bit straight away. You've seen his face, which we will come back to. Una memento. We have Pop Culture Shock, Legend, Lord of Darkness, 1/3 scale mixed media statue. Yes, this went up for order for $999 or $800 if you paid in full in August 2014. I am now recording this on February the 16th, 2018. Yes, with an edition size of 150. I should have figured out how many days that was to produce each one. What's that, 900 days over? No, 1,000 days and there's 150 of them. Here is the certificate of authenticity, signed by the man himself, Jerry Macaluso, president of PCS, although he no longer is, which I'll kind of touch about on this video. And yes, it's 150 and it's number 59. That face we will get onto later. Yes, so Jerry no longer owns Pop Culture Shock. I've probably spoke about it in other videos, but I forgot. The PCS has been bought by a couple of very nice guys. The man himself, Red Ant. I don't know his second name. I know his name's Ant, so I'm guessing he's an Anthony. But he goes as Ant, and these guys have come in. They've moved Jerry to creative director so he can focus on sculpting and art directing, and they are taking care of the business side. So I'd say in the last, I think they bought it in July, so that's July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So over the past 6 months, they've been kicking ass and taking names, and they've got statue shipping, they've sorted out refunds, they've got customer service going, they've put in policies, they've changed things up, and they've released a few statues here and there, and everything seems to be going well. It's an amazing change in 6 months. People seem to think that the changes aren't happening fast enough, but in my opinion, 6 months, they've done a lot of good, and I hopefully by the end of this year, PCS will be in a really good place, and all this backlog of stuff will have come out, and we'll be going places again, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys put out. But let's talk about Lord of Darkness. 3.5 years, was it worth the wait? That's a very hard question, and I doubt I'll be able to answer it. Is it a great statue? Yes, it is. Is it exactly what we saw in the prototype? I don't think so. Now, I always say, 85%, 90% of what the prototype was, and I'm more than happy. That's what to expect. I always maintain that the ninjas, despite all the shit that was thrown around, I thought they were 85% of what we saw in the proto. Minor changes here and there. People bemoaned and went on and on about that fabric. But I think what we got was actually excellent. People moaned about the bases, which were too light. Mine is still standing there. Mine is still looking beautiful, which is the opposite of this guy, because this guy weighs a fucking ton. Scarily a lot of weight in this guy. So much so I'm probably going to have to display him on the bottom shelf, because I don't think a shelf would take him properly. It's nice to have that weight if that's what you like, but me personally, I like my shelves. I like my statues not falling through shelves and destroying themselves. So yeah, you're gonna have to get your display areas You're going to have to have a bigger display area anyway, because he's, you know, he's pushing 40 inches. But not actually that big than, you know, even though he is a 40-inch statue, maybe 37, 38, you know, he doesn't actually that big when he's compared to the 1-3 Ninjas and Akuma. So what did we wait 3 years for? Well, like I say, a great statue really. Everything's pretty much there that we saw on the proto. There isn't really that much different. I'm a bit with this. I don't know. It's really well. There's parts that I think wow, and there's other parts that I think and one of them you're staring right at really. I think this chest area is way over sculpted. I would have liked something a bit softer, and you know, if you look at images of Tim Curry in the suit, it looks a bit more, you know, he looks more normal. The anatomy on this doesn't make sense for me, but it was there on the proto, so you know, I'm not going to bemoan that. I just think in hand it's a bit more jarring. And then the face, which we'll get onto in a minute. Let's just go through what we got on there. We've got COA. We got this little instruction sheet, because there's actually a little magnet on the cape to connect to the wrist, to both sides, so that comes with it. And you get your tiny gloves for those people with tiny girl hands. Shall we start at the bottom? No, let's go straight to the face. I'm going to go straight to that face. Now, horns do come off. It's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. The eyes are now painted where they were originally acrylic. The teeth are apparently still acrylic. It's just slightly different, and I think it is the eyes. It kind of has a jokey look, whereas if we look at the card, it's just kind of lost it in the lips, or there's definitely something different than the proto. Definitely. It's lost that edge slightly. To be honest, in shadow, as we're seeing it here, it looks a lot better. The shadows that are cast on it really add to the look. I haven't done pictures of this guy yet, but I think once I get pictures of him uplit, as we've seen on the shots and that, I think that's what brings out the detail. And you kind of get an approximation of what we saw. You know, lighting is a big factor. I've said that on many times. Lighting can change the look of an entire statue. But as you can see, teeth are well done. The paints are fantastic on it. If this is what we're heading for with popcultureshock, this is the consistency they're going to give us, then you know you do not need to worry about your Chun-Li, your 1-3 Ryu, your 1-3 Katana and Melina, your 1-3 Goro, which is a beast of a beast. Face is pretty much all there. Oh. The unicorn horn, which was added later. Nicely done. Mine's a little bit off, but not too much. Hardly noticeable. And then my biggest surprise, which I don't even think they even mentioned on the proto. I'll have to have a look, but real fur. So if I take that away, and we take that away, Let me just move this huge cape. We've got all this fur. This looks like it needs a bit of a comb, and that's running all through the legs. I can't ever remember mentioning that. It's super nicely done. Now, this fur just makes you think, why didn't they put this on the American werewolf in London? Because as much as I love that piece, you know, it's not a perfect piece by any stretch of the imagination, but this would have been fantastic. I don't know what the life is on this, but I assume as long as you keep it out of dust and keep it out of sun and hot and cold areas as usual statues, I'm assuming it'll last a while. But it's so well done. Can I get him all the way around, or is that staff going to touch? No, we're there. Let's check out that devil ass. And then again, as you can see, it runs all the way down to the hooves. And all this is real strapping. It's all been strapped in. I don't know if mine's slightly wrong on the back, but that's how it's come. And this gold stuff here is really tight, so I'm guessing that's how it's been done. I don't think it's supposed to be completely even, but damn. The cape needs a bloody good steam, which I probably will do. I probably should have done it before this review, but I wanted to get it done. It's a huge cape spanning, you know, a few feet. It's very light material, and it's got ruffled edges on the back. Really nicely done, hangs really well on the statue. Now what you have got is a couple of magnets in there, as the diagram showed. So there's a magnet here somewhere. So you just run your finger down the edge, if you can find the edge. Oh. We've got a little magnet there. See? And that just... Where is it? Oh, let me get the camera up there for you. So there's a little other magnet here somewhere. There we go. Hear that clip? Boom. So that holds that part on. And then if we spin round, and we go freehand again. Whoop. We've got another magnet here, and that just goes on the back of there. Just clips on. They're actually, for how small the magnets are, they're really strong. And we'll come up and do the staff. Staff has got like an oxidised look with blue in it. It's rather nice. Staff completely spins. The staff top piece is a separate piece. Connects here. And the staff just runs through the hand. Nails, done really well. All the mixed media, the pants, the leather chaps, let's call them, do have the bronze in them. They're just subject to lighting. I will try and capture that on pictures, hopefully. And then let's go. Let me shorten my tripod legs. And while I do that, I'll tell you what trouble they had with this guy. Apparently, the first factory, popcultureshock have a lot of trouble with factories. Apparently they put the head on wrong, but I don't know how that happened because it all looks to be one piece. That was what Jerry said apparently. So they had to scrap them all and redo them. Whether they were just having trouble with factories at that point and that was the line, I don't know. But you know, I will say, yeah, you know, 3.5 years I can't even excuse that. You know, other statues have said, oh, it's been 2 years, 2 and a bit. You know, it's fine, it's fine. But 3.5 years is madness. You know, people have houses built faster. You know, state of the art modern houses. So, you know, it was just, you know, I'm sure PCS didn't make much money off this because they must have moved it to so many factories. And to be fair, you know, I imagine that the fear on the legs and some of the media on this is fairly complicated, but 3.5 years, and you know, it's 3.5 years. But with PCS, I do think I've never had a bad statue from PCS. I don't care what anyone fucking says. I personally have never had a bad statue from PCS. And when I say bad, I mean something that's like, you know, half of what we saw in the Proto, you know, 50%, 60% of what the Proto was. Everything usually is 95% of what the Proto was. You know, slight deviations. You know, the Nash that we had recently was just fantastic. Quan Chi, Kotal Khan, they smashed. Kotal Khan was just, you know, went so under the radar, and they just did such a fantastic job on it. The 1-3 ninjas, despite what people say, yeah, the bases that we've got, you know, are hollow, but they're cast thick enough. I've opened both of the bases up to adjust the lights and the power, and they're thick enough to hold the weight of the ninjas. The material is well done. The head shape, yes, they are a little different, but you know, there's enough material there to change and, you know, make them look like the prototype. The material is slightly different, definitely is. But there's stuff there to make them look as best as they can be, and they're definitely, you know, 85% of what we saw, maybe 90%. You know, the hollowness in the base, you know, Scorpions has got fucking lights in the base. The lights aren't going to shine through fucking polystone, are they? Very fair and treated, I think, the ninjas. Whereas this, I think, you know, it's come out great. But if it hadn't come out great after a 3.5 year wait, I think PCS's reputation would have been completely and totally destroyed. You know, the company that can't make a good statue after 3 years would be thinking. And I know Jerry had really, you know, he's got really good standards, and that's what kept the product coming out. You know, and it was slow because he was dealing with factories, you know, from America. And then the guys were in China, he had no middleman. And then I think they did have a middleman, and that middleman was like basically screwing them over. He was saying stuff was going to get done and it wasn't. And lots of, you know, I'm sure Jerry could write a book about all this eventually. Just going over the base here, the base is beautiful. I remember when they first showed this, it was a plain black base, kind of like what you found on the Street Fighter statues. I'm so glad they went for this. It's this mural here of all the twisted bodies and souls, and you know, it's just perfect. It's a perfect base for this figure. And like the marble effect here that he stands on. Very, very nicely done. So, I've gone quite sombre on this, haven't I? I don't know why. It's a great statue. It is. It's really, really well done. I think it could have been a little bit better. I would have liked to see the eyes done a bit better. But overall, you know, my biggest problem is the stomach, how it's sculpted. But I guess I should have guessed that when they put up those proto pics. Someone said recently that, you know, it's an idealised version of the Lord of Darkness, you know, as he would be, not Tim Curry in a suit. But, you know, Tim Curry in a suit is the Lord of Darkness, as far as I'm concerned, so. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with him. I really don't. I've seen, mind you, saying that. I've seen disappointment. I've seen people saying, is another company going to make this? And I'm sure that someone else could do a better job, but I don't think it'd be $1,000. Not on 1/3 scale. Triple it. at least. And you know, this, I mean, a lot of people praise the sideshow version. This is just, the sideshow version's always been kind of rubbish. I'll let you into a little secret. The sideshow version's always been a bit rubbish. It was the only decent, it was the only statue of Lord of Darkness, so that's why people, you know, coveted it. But now, you know, do you know what the biggest problem with this statue is? Actually, now I'm thinking about it. It's 1/3 scale, not 1/4. That is probably going to be its downfall. But if you're a Legend fan, if you haven't seen Legend, by the way, go and watch it. It's a Ridley Scott film. It's Tom Cruise, Tim Curry. I can't remember the woman's name in it. It's a really odd film, but kind of a film that I grew up with. Really weird fantasy. Tim Curry as the Lord of Darkness is definitely the highlight, and Tom Cruise is pre-surgery. He looks a little, you know, he looks like he went full retard. You never go full retard. But it's a great film, and especially if you and practical effects in it, and the fantasy elements are really well done, especially if you get the Blu-ray. You know, it still looks great. It's got a really good 80s charm to it, and Tim Curry in this suit. You know, Tim Curry famous for Rocky Horror Show, which is, you know, genius, and Pennywise, which you know, he was the best part of it, and you know, of course, the legend, the greatness of his accent in Congo. You know, the myth of the killer, you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a fine representation of the Lord of Darkness. There's only 150 of them, probably 160. There's probably more than a few artist proofs knocking about. I think he's sold out on popcultureshock. I've seen a couple on the secondary market, and they seem to be going for retail, if not more. If you want it, I'd grab it now. I do think it might go up in price. I don't know if I'm going to keep mine, to be honest. I just don't have the room or the space with so much anime stuff coming. And, you know, anime is one of my, you know, video games anime. And most things Japanese, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, Tokusatsu, as my first love. So they always take precedence. And I've got large horror statues coming. I mean, obviously this is a movie statue with Mortigal and Death and whatever else comes out from the Court of the God. So this might go, but I'm going to enjoy it for what it is for now. It's a nice big statue of a lot of presents. I'm going to stick him in my movie section with my Terminator, my Alien, my American Werewolf, my Caesar. Yeah, it's a great statue. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait to get some pics of it. I'm going to do some pictures after. I think with a bit of up lighting here and there. Let's have a look at that actually while I'm here. How about that? See there. Oh, goofy cheesy smile. There. The Lord of Darkness. Lighting makes such a difference. Lighting and angles. So there you go, guys. That's popcultureshock's Lord of Darkness, 1/3 scale, 3.5 year wait. Was it worth it? Probably. Probably was. You know, not exactly pouring out Legend Lord of Darkness statues like fucking Spider-Man and Iron Man, are they? So, yeah. What else are you going to buy? And, you know, I saw Raph review it. If you don't know Raphael, he does a lot of great custom work on YouTube and stuff. And he's got a Cinemaquette collection, so it's all 1/3 scale. This just sits so well with that. Just sits so well in the movie Cinemaquette 1/3 collection, you know. I think this from popcultureshock and their Rambo and their Conan, you're going to have a pretty special 1/3 lineup from popcultureshock eventually. And I think this is a pretty fucking great start. It's 25 minutes, guys, of me talking nonsense, basically. But all you need to know is that they did a really good job on this. They did. And get yourself a nice lighting rig, nice underlit rig like this. And I think you're going to see very much glints of that prototype. So there you go, guys. What else can I say? If you've got Lord of Darkness, do you think it's worth waiting 3 years for a statue? Are you a person, if you don't get it in 12 months, that's it, you're done? Leave a comment. Or are you a person where you pay for it, you forget about it, and then when it arrives, that's when you make the judgment? Leave a comment, like, let's talk Lord of Darkness. And I'll see you in the next video, which should be, let's think, it might be Death from Court of the Dead. Yeah, I think so. Or it might be Jin from Tekken. Hey, who knows? Tune in next time to find out. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and bye.